This is how you can tell if the vehicle has been in an accident or crash. Is you check the body lines. Yep, it looks like it's been in an accident. And you just check the body lines and see if the vehicle has got that. That means it's been in an accident or crash. And here we go again. I've just purchased a 2015 Mercedes Benz GL350 4MATIC. What does 4MATIC mean? What 4MATIC means is that it's permanently four-wheel drive. I almost purchased a GL350, not realizing that it was two-wheel drive. Okay, that sounds all fancy and all, but how much was this vehicle worth in 2015? $40,000 in 2015. That's a lot of money. You can pick these up pretty inexpensive nowadays. They go for about $10,000, which is not a bad price. But be warned, they do have a lot of miles. This specific vehicle has 39,000 miles, which is practically nothing. And I only paid $4,500 for this vehicle. You got ripped off. Yeah, I don't think so. For $4,500, it's not a bad price for crash damage one of these. Especially the parts are really inexpensive and easy to come by. You can buy OEM parts or aftermarket parts. I'm going to try and fix up this Mercedes Benz with everything OEM, mostly. At first glance, the accident looked pretty bad. There's a lot of damage to the Mercedes. But in my opinion, it doesn't look too bad. There are a lot of broken plastic pieces and some bent metal pieces which I can always bend back. So that's what I'm going to do in this episode. I'm going to try and remove as much of the damaged pieces as possible, get OEM part numbers so I can purchase replacement parts for them. Look how clean this interior is. Practically brand new. Not to mention the Mercedes also starts up and runs. It goes into gears, perfectly fine. And back into park. This vehicle is awesome. First thing I'm going to do is remove the hood from the Mercedes Benz and try and straighten this out where I can remove the crash damaged pieces. This is a metal crash bar. I'm not moving that by myself, I'm not that strong yet. But I do have a certain tool that I will be able to use that will be able to kind of straighten this a little bit. Matrix, you want to come pull this out? You strong enough, boy? First thing I'm going to do is remove this hood. I do have a replacement coming which is in white, which, wow, that was a huge saver. Paint, prep, stuff like that. So I need to get the new hood or painted. It's going to be already painted. Talk about lucky. But first thing I'm going to do is remove these 4 30mm nuts. There's 2 on that side, 2 on this side. Now with these 4 nuts loose, they haven't been removed from the hood completely, as if something happens, I want the nuts to still catch the hood. I can now remove the clip that holds the hood in place. This is a gas strut that actually pops the hood up. Now I can do that to the driver's side as well. Being very careful. Why did that do that? Whew, I'm glad I didn't smash replace the windshield. That is for sure. That was a close one. That was a close one. Let's release from there. Hey, don't do that. Stop sliding. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yay! Whee! Now, one of the reasons why I want to remove the hood, number one, it kind of looks a little bit better at the moment. Also, it's going to give me more space to grab onto this radiator support cross bar thing, they want to call it, where I'm able to hook it on and try and maneuver this metal brace here. It's going to go this way. So this is going to go up and back. And I need to figure out what tool I'm going to use for that. Because that's metal, I'm not going to be able to move that by hand, and I can't get to the nuts and bolts to remove this piece and replace it. I've got to first kind of straighten this piece out first. Let's see if my tractor can do it. Let's see how this goes. It can either go very good or very badly. I'm hoping very good. Sweet, that worked out exactly how I wanted it to. I didn't have any doubts whatsoever. It was kind of sketchy as soon as this broke away from this plastic. What the hell? Anyway, but this metal radiator support bar has been bent away from the radiator and the engine. Now I've got better accessibility. Now I've realized that I need to remove this upper radiator support like in 3 pieces. It is held on by bolts over here. There's 3 bolts there, and there's 3 bolts here, and then this piece will break away from the side pieces. It's a 10mm. I'm surprised. Being a German vehicle, I thought it would be a 9999. Now on the passenger side, it seems like these 2 have broken away from the screws, and it's only one that's holding it. Hey-o! It's out of the way, kinda. So although I'm getting a replacement one of these pieces, the screws or nuts that are removed from the piece I'm replacing it with, I just put them back onto the part, so when the replacement comes, I can check out with the damaged piece. I can see this nut or this bolt is going to go into this piece, which then gets put back onto the car. I don't need to buy nuts or bolts or screws or stuff like that, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. So I've just come across a dilemma. This is the radio top support bar, and this is some kind of cable, as you can see, has been pinched inside there. Now if I put a screwdriver in there and try and twist it, I don't get enough leverage. I can't get enough leverage to try and bend that metal. I need some kind of tool that spreads it apart, like jaws of life, but much smaller. And then I came across this. I noticed on my screwdriver it's got some kind of design or pattern that a spanner, in my case is a 27mm, fits over perfect, and I've got enough leverage where I might bend that away, open it up like a clam and get that cable out. So let's give it a go. Oh, it worked! Wow, that is crazy! So with the spanner and the screwdriver, I was able to get in there, and with a long enough spanner, get enough leverage where I could actually bend the piece of metal and open up and release this cable. And the cable looks in good condition, so I don't need to replace that cable. Now with those support bars all bent and removed, I can now move the Mercedes onto my hoist, so I can remove things like the front bumper, the fenders, the wheels, and get to all the rest of these broken parts. So come take a ride with me, guys. Let's move the seat forward as I'm short. The one thing I don't like is that there's no shifter over here. This is your shifter here. It's like an indicator stalk. So to go in reverse, you got to go up. But first, I do know I've got an issue with the parking brake, where the parking brake sticks, and I got to lift up with my foot, which is now disengaged. Yeah, that I gotta sort out. But let's go into reverse. Got a backup camera. Ooh, fancy. I totally forgot, when removing the fender from any vehicle, especially on the Mercedes, I've done it to the Cadillac a couple of times, is I had to remove the side skirt, which honestly wasn't that bad. I like the way how Mercedes made it, where you can remove the side skirts compared to, for instance, my Cadillac, which was a pain. I'll show you how to do it on the passenger side. Now, the reason why I've got to remove the side skirt is there's actually 2 bolts in underneath the side skirt that I need to get to, where I'm able to remove this fender and replace it. First thing I've got to do is actually remove these 2 body clips that will allow me to remove this real fender, but I'm going to get that done once I get onto the hoist, as this tire, what size, a 19-inch tire, 19-inch rim. It's a good size, it looks good actually. I might replace that. Now crawl underneath the GLK, and there are 6 10mm wing nuts. Remove those. Don't forget, you also got those body clips at the back of the car. And pull. You start hearing clips. After a couple of real good yanks, the side skirt will pop off, leaving you exposed with this protective cover thing, which is really cool. I like that they did this. This piece is also held in by the 10mm wing nuts, which you just remove. Now that I have most of the wing nuts off, I'm not going to remove this whole protective cover thing, as I don't need to exactly remove it. I just got to get to these 2 wing nuts that hold the bottom of this fender on. Now moving to the inside of the door, you're going to open the door slightly ajar, just so you can access this 10mm bolt over there, which holds the fender to the car. So that one there, loosen it up, remove it. Now on top of the Mercedes, I've already gone ahead and loosened those 10mm bolts that fasten the fender to the chassis of the GLK. Now I've got to try and figure out how to get to this area here, as there are 2 screws that fasten the front bumper to the fender, and I don't want to damage this headlight. You know, help me, Baba? Whoa, Sherman. Make sure I don't damage anything, boy. Now I can get to these 2 screws that fasten the front bumper to the fender. Hey, there we go. Huh? Oh my God, Mercedes! You got these stupid chrome caps on these lug bolts. Yeah. So this is the one for those lovely stupid chrome caps, but yet not for the lug bolts. So when I loosened the lug caps, it didn't loosen the lug bolts. Oh yeah. Mercedes. I understand that you want your cars to look all nice and bling, but if I'm stuck on the side of the damn road because I have a flat tire, I don't care how my lug caps look. I need them to come on and off, not spend 20 minutes on one lug bolt. Now the vehicle on the hoist, lift it up. I can now look and see what kind of damage has been done to the Mercedes with the crash. And I'm pretty surprised at the moment. I don't even know if this vehicle was even taken off road. There's not a scratch on the belly pan whatsoever. There's some road rash. Big deal. Road rash here too. But there's no signs of off-road use whatsoever, or even dirt or stones or sticks, or something that would mention that you went off-road. I mean, this vehicle is from Oregon, which is a snowy state, and all the nuts, bolts, bushings, everything looks amazing. There's no rust on the vehicle whatsoever, especially with Oregon being a snow state. Let's get the belly pans off and let's do a further inspection. I forgot that was even there. That's mostly body panel pieces. Wow, there's no damage whatsoever from the crash. And honestly, there's no rust on this vehicle whatsoever. I mean, 40,000 miles, I guess, especially having a lot of snow in the state, but there's no sign of rust whatsoever or snow. I mean, look at that. I mean, yes, it is dirty, but there's no rust. All the bushings, tie rod ends, everything looks really good. CV joints, all in excellent condition. I mean, even the nuts and bolts don't have any rust. Sure, take a look at that. Nope, that's fine. This vehicle is in excellent condition besides the crash. So what I was saying is there was some fluid up inside here, but it seems it's coming from the radiator, which is all busted. But I think this vehicle is in really good condition, especially being from Oregon, which, as I said, has a lot of snow. And there's no rust whatsoever on this vehicle. Now I can start removing this front bumper from this Mercedes and get everything ready for the new parts, if I had the right tool. There you go. Nobody's holding it. Oh, whoa, gotta do that. There you go. Yes. What a mess. Hey, it doesn't look too bad actually. Some metal pieces I can flatten out or put back straight, like this little groove over here. I mean, the crash bar is in perfect condition. Nothing wrong with it, it's just this tab needs to be straightened out. I mean, this is probably $100, so if I just straighten it out, that's $100. This radiator and condenser has seen better days. That's a piece of bumper I don't no longer need. Engine pieces like the air intake has cracked. But the good thing is it looks like it's a crack, it hasn't shattered. So no plastic pieces have actually gone into the intake manifold. It's just cracked, which I'll get another one of those ones. They're not that expensive, especially being aftermarket. I can get OEM, but that would then hike up the price. I'm trying to get this SUV fixed as cheap as possible, just to see what kind of prices they are compared to OEM. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure OEM would be better, but also they'll be more expensive. And there's a lot of aftermarket parts for this SUV. Just like the headlights. Oh, look at the headlights. Oh, it's looking so sad. Luckily with these headlights, they don't use a ballast or something special that operate the headlights. It's just a simple halogen bulb. I've got a replacement of the headlights coming for the Mercedes. I do like that it says Mercedes on the headlights, but I can start unplugging this. And let me start removing some other damaged pieces that I know I can get to. And then I'm going to remove this crash bar so I can get to the radiator and condenser and go from there. I hope that there's no refrigerant in the Mercedes, but if there is, it's no big deal. I do have the tools to remove the refrigerant from there, the R134. Is that ice? What's that, ice? Ice, baby. Is it ice? Look at the ice. Get it. Get it, Baba. Yes, it's snowing. It's freezing cold. But you love this weather. Hey? I had lost my 10mm socket, so I had to tear this all apart, and I found it. It was sitting around over here. Thankfully got the 10mm socket. That's looking a lot better. I removed a lot of the damaged pieces like the radiator, condenser, piping, stuff like that. Even the crash bar in the front, which was perfectly fine, I did remove it so I can access the engine itself, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Now with everything all ripped apart, I'm able to see what kind of damage the crash had on the GLK, and so far everything is looking good, but let me do a better inspection. I'm just looking at the frame, making sure the frame is all good, the subframe, the trailing legs, radiator hoses, air conditioner hoses, transmission oil cooler hoses, the engine itself, pulleys, belts, broken pieces, anything structural to the GLK. I want to make sure that everything is looking good. And so far everything is. All the welds are intact. Still got some basic broken pieces around here. Oh, I do know that this is an electronic steering pump or electric steering, so there's no steering pump on the engine whatsoever. That kind of would make sense, as this vehicle is four-wheel drive and would make it a little bit easier to steer, especially with four-wheel drive. And if this vehicle had four-wheel drive and a normal steering pump system, it would have completely worn out those components so quickly. So I'm glad that there's actually electronic steering pump assembly. But while I'm here, I can actually remove the serpentine belt and get that replaced. So the first thing I did is actually take a photo of how the belt runs through all the pulleys and everything like that, so when I put the new one on, I don't forget. Now I'm taking a 17mm socket, putting it on the tensioner, which is this, and I'm just going to go lefty-loosey, which is going to loosen tension on the belt. I can then remove the belt. A good thing I'm actually replacing this belt. Doesn't look like it's in the best condition. Seems like it's been fraying. Huh, look at that. I believe it must happen from the accident where the radiator fan was touching on the belt itself and shredding it up. So this came off, you can see I'm just pulling off strands now. While I'm also here, I can also take a look at some of the pulleys. Oh yeah, yeah. Seems like there's some damage here on this pulley. The only damage it seems is on this pulley whatsoever, but it doesn't look too bad, to be honest, in my opinion. So I'm not going to replace this pulley, it's going to be perfectly fine. Let's put a new belt on the GLK. Come on, slide on, lady. Slide on. There we go. Make sure everything's good. There. Pulleys. And that should be good. Yeah, that belt's not touching any of the damaged areas. I think I was lucky with that. Now that all done, everything looking all really good. I can now move my attention onto the airbox assembly, as just this piece had been damaged in the crash. So I do have a replacement coming of this piece, but it also seems like this piece may have been damaged as well. I'm not too sure. I'm going to take a look at photos. I hope it's not damaged. Let's get this airbox off. It's not that difficult to do. Now with the airbox out of the way, I can now do another inspection on inside. And everything is looking good as well. I think we dodged a bullet. Just more broken plastic pieces. But everything looks all nice and structural. Just plastic pieces are broken. And this throttle body sensor assembly is exactly how it's supposed to look. So what I did is take the OEM part number that's imprinted onto the sensor, punch it in on Google or whatever, and it showed me a picture of how it's supposed to look. And yeah, besides a couple of scuffs and scrapes, it's supposed to look like this. So I know this is not damaged, so that's good. But I do have another airbox assembly coming in, besides a couple of other parts, as there's supposed to be some kind of tube that fits up inside here. It's somewhere, probably broken, but I do have a replacement coming in for that. I do have a replacement airbox coming, replacement radiator, replacement condenser. Oh, so many replacement pieces, but they're very inexpensive. And on the next episode, I'll tell you how much they all were. But this mounting bracket isn't supposed to be like that. It's all whacked out. But good thing is that all the welds are perfectly fine. It just seems like it's bent up. Same thing with the passenger side. It also looks like it's been bent up, but all the welds holding the structure to the brackets is perfectly fine. So all I got to do is use my panel beating skills, which I don't have any, and panel beat this back into shape, and then put the head-up bracket on there, and should be good. Same with the passenger side. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video or learned something new about tools or vehicles, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for new videos released on this GLK 350, which I'm rebuilding. Hi Matrix, come say hi to everybody. But I think that was a very successful first episode. We got all the broken pieces removed from the GLK. As I said, it doesn't look too bad. I think I dodged a bullet with this car. For $4,500, not a bad price. It's taken me at least, I would say, about 5 hours to remove all the pieces, inspect everything, replace the serpentine belt, so it didn't take that long to actually do all the work myself. I do have a couple of pieces that have just arrived for the GLK. I am going to get these tabs all panel beated back into shape and get those installed. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Enjoy this video, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment down below, do you think this is a good build that I'm doing? Let me know what you guys think, I greatly appreciate it. Once again, guys, take care. Oh, Happy New Year! It's a new year, 2025, so let's get it going, guys. Take care.